unknown submarine contact in the vital area. Away the Nixie team away. Away the Nixie team away. Set general quarters. Set general quarters. General quarters, all hands, leave out station. General quarters, all hands, leave out station.
I love this intro. I love this music. I love that sound. I just really think it fits the show. Hey, folks, what time is it, kids? It's time for the Zackheads Against Tyranny. General Quarters. General Quarters.
Who's that? Oh, is that the brother to General Jackassery?
It is. It
and
is.
Major Pain in the Arse?
It's and Corporal Punishment.
Punishment, yeah. And Major.
What movie was that from?
Catch-22.
Major. Oh, that's right. Major.
Major was the character's name.
Or
and who was it? Yossarian, right? Was
yes,
the main character.
it was Yossarian. Damn, who played him? God, I used to know.
Oh, it was the book. You got to read the book.
Oh, the book is fabulous.
You got to read the book. It's kind of like I read Ready Player One, and I've yet to see the movie.
The movie, I mean, if you like CG, if you want an incredible CG experience, yeah, okay, go see Ready Player One. I did go see it, and my wife, who's a huge CG fan, went to go see it, and she was incredibly impressed. And
so you're not a CG fan, so you didn't like Infinity Wars.
I enjoy the CG, but I mean, it seems as though this book. Well, first off, did you enjoy the book just for the read?
So for the book, I had to set aside the some of the leftist kind of in your face slants a little bit.
Okay. I didn't read the book, so I don't know.
So I haven't seen the movie, but in the first chapter, to kind of set the scene, it talks about how basically mankind destroyed the earth, used all the fossil fuels.
Yeah, that's such an old
religion. Religion is kind of an arcane thing of the past. So there was some of that, but
old tropes.
Yeah. Once I kind of I had to say, okay, focus on the story that's being told. I really enjoyed the story that was told. And honestly, the book could have left that superfluous crap out. I think it was literally, that was this author's first book. And so if I had to guess the political leanings of the author, I think I could do so. If the author would have, if the author would have left that stuff out, I think that I would have enjoyed the book just 100%. The fact that I even had to think about the little political and just kind of have a little dig irked me. It didn't irk me to the point where I didn't enjoy the story, because I did, but it irked me to a point that I'm trying to read for enjoyment, and now I'm being irked. You know, I generally have...
Yeah, but isn't that the truth now?
Yeah.
All of this crap has inculcated itself into every aspect of our lives. I can't even enjoy the fucking NFL anymore.
True.
Because they've all been, it's been so terribly politicized. I wanted to just sit back, maybe have a beer and a Dorito like I've never had that before.
Right.
And just enjoy, try to forget about all the rest of the shit that's been politicized, except now that shit's been politicized too.
Yes. I didn't watch...
Where do you go to escape it?
I did not watch one NFL football game last year.
I didn't watch. I didn't watch one NFL game last year. I didn't watch one NFL game in 2016 either.
Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't watch one full NFL game in 2016 when that crap started.
And I don't know. Depending what the NFL does this year, I might not watch the NFL again this year.
They've done a complete disservice, because here's what the NFL has happened to do. They've gotten way too many people used to not watching them. And now when people are used to going out and mowing the lawn or taking the boat out on the lake or having a picnic and maybe getting the family together, when in fact they used to just sit in front of the TV like a prolapsed rectum and wait until the NFL entertained them, now they're used to doing something else. That could be some serious damage for the NFL.
Look how long it took baseball to recover after the strike.
Now, not being a baseball fan, I'm not sure.
Ooh.
Maybe you can
so,
tell me.
So there was a strike, and I was, some things you wish Sean was here for, because I can't I can't remember what year it was. But it was. I'm guessing here, so it's a wild ass guess. I'm guessing it was about maybe 10 years ago. But
long.
But Major League Baseball took a hit from the fan base after that, because people were like, "Screw you! You get paid how much money, and you're gonna strike for this."
So it was just cash, just contracts. That's all it was for. They want more cash because those poor little boys are underpaid, right? They're
I'll
terribly
tell you,
underpaid.
the MLB almost had a problem when Bruce Maxwell, the catcher last year for the Oakland Athletics, I'm sad to say that's my team, started kneeling for the anthem. He knelt for the anthem. The only Major League Baseball player to do it. He did it towards the end of the season. I get contacted by the Oakland Athletics regularly to try and get me to repurchase some stuff, because I am a huge Oakland Athletics fan, and I've told the representative I deal with is fantastic.
Did you get like season tickets for a while?
He is fantastic. Well, let me tell. I actually on an occasion last year got an entire suite and the whole
really?
thing. And, yeah, it was fantastic.
But damn, how cool would that be?
It was very cool. It was very very cool experience.
The big box
yeah,
thing?
like in the outfield, the huge box thing, tons of seat, ordered food, drink, like the whole 9 yards. It was a whole thing.
Crap.
And it was awesome.
What an experience.
It really was. And I'm going to tell you, I love baseball, and I really love the Oakland Athletics. I do. I like the fact that they're just a small budget team. They always play exciting. They're rooted in Oakland, so they are a community, even though I think the city itself is a shithole. But the fact that they're rooted in the community. And so they are really a team that's deeply part of that community. They really are, more so.
Well, and of all the Oakland teams, they're one of the few. They haven't moved at all.
No,
ever.
No,
have they? Not even once.
No,
like some other Raiders we know.
Yeah, and Ricky, you got Ricky Henderson, who, and even the Golden State Warriors now moved across the bay to San Francisco. They were right there in that little complex with the Oakland Coliseum. And even Ricky Henderson, local hero, joined Oakland Athletics, and still very much a part of the organization. So, you go to the ballpark, and it's not uncommon to see Ricky Henderson walking the halls of the ballpark. It's phenomenal, and he's
that would be way cool.
He's very nice. Yeah, so I was actually in an elevator there's a group of guys, and this happened just last year, and in steps Ricky Henderson, and he says hi to everybody, and ride the elevator up, and he's personal and gets off. He doesn't have a big entourage or anything like that, but it's so cool how that organization really is rooted there. It's sad that they're in the city of Oakland, and that their fan base isn't really there. The people of Oakland like them, but they don't go pay for the games or go see tickets for the most part. Most of it's folks coming in from the outside, I think. My point is, this guy calls me up, and I tell him, I say, hey, I'm sorry, I cannot. I haven't seen the Oakland Athletics react to Bruce Maxwell's protest. If the organization came out and said, hey, no, that's not, he's a representative of our team when he's in uniform, and we don't disrespect that, make him stay in the locker room for the anthem, that's fine. But if he's going to be on that field wearing that uniform representing us, I don't think he should be divisive, and I made that very clear, and he was very receptive to that. That being said, I still haven't purchased anything for this year to go see the Oakland Athletics. But because it's not the team as a whole, I don't know if I will or not. But that kind of goes into our first topic here, and I want to have a discussion with you.
Can I back up just for a second?
No, because I already did the segue and it was beautiful, and now you're going to fuck that up, BZ.
You're a baseball guy, so real quick, I just had to throw this out.
I see what you did there.
We saw, see?
I see what you did there.
Okay, thank you for the acknowledgement.
You're welcome.
But the most important question for me right now, since we're talking about sports, is this went endemic throughout the NFL, taking a knee. This one guy in the Oakland A's took a knee. Now, what's the difference between baseball and the NFL? Why didn't it just go crazy all through baseball?
I have a theory, It is not scientific, and it will probably cause a lot of backlash. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, hell yes.
Fan base and those who play the sports. I think that each sport has its own fan base that is unique.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Agreed. Yep.
And I think the closest I can't even say the closest fan base, but I think the two major sports, my opinion, I don't have the numbers, so that's my caveat, are baseball and football. Maybe that's just because historically that's what I've watched. But NHL fans NHL fans are unique. MLS fans are unique. MLB fans are unique. NBA fans are unique, and so on and so on. NASCAR fans are unique.
Yep.
And so I think that the fan base and the athletes that tend to play those sports come from different backgrounds than those that play other sports. And I think that because of those differences in backgrounds and fan bases and so forth, it allows certain things to take root in certain cultures of what those sports are. For example, you look at how the Sacramento Kings responded to the Black Lives Matter protest in Sacramento. Completely got on board with them and talked about how how horrible the police department was in essence and all kinds of other stuff. So that seems to take root. In the NFL, I think it's the same thing. I think that has taken root because the backgrounds of the players where that has really kind of taken root. And this is not, look, I'm not talking about a racial thing here or anything like this, but I am talking about a background difference and a difference in fan base, whereas that has taken root, at least at the player level. Now, when you talk about the NFL fan base, I think it's different in that the fan base is such a broad spectrum. I mean, you have people from all different backgrounds and walks of life where they would be able to come together on a Sunday and watch football, different political points of view, everything. Everybody just enjoyed football. And what the kneeling did is it completely alienated a good segment of the fan base. And
it alienated me.
Me too. And I think that there are among the NFL players, because I think generational is another issue, is another thing as well. I think among the players it's more accepted or acceptable, but per the fans it's not. Whereas baseball is different. I think or hockey or NASCAR.
Let me throw this out there.
Sure.
and ask you, because I know a little bit about baseball, just enough to get me in trouble. My favorite team, obviously, look at me, is the Milwaukee Brewers. Okay, Get it. Is it because baseball just has a history, perhaps, of being more gentlemanly?
I think it's because it's America's pastime, right? I mean, it's the people that play the sports, I think. And again, I have no data to support this. This is just my own belief system, having kids in Little League and seeing the culture of baseball growing up versus the culture of people that are starting with football. I think baseball, maybe it's more gentlemanly, but I think you have a healthier respect for just the pastime and the culture of our country. I really do.
More traditional. It's more traditional
it
is
is
what you're saying.
It is. Yeah, I think it is. And so I think there's a certain level of respect that comes out of there, at least on the player level. I just see how, my kids are in the not in Little League but in Pony Ball, and coming up through the baseball system and what's being instilled in them versus football. It's different. And maybe I can't put my finger on it. Maybe I'm not articulating it just right, but it's just different. And that's why I don't think it's taken hold. And maybe MLB saw how it's affected the NFL and said, oh, shit, we can't do this. We're not going to allow this to happen.
Let me make a prognostication here, and then we'll wrap it up because I know we want to go to the next topic. My prognostication is this. If the NFL goes through another season starting in August, the 2018 season, if it goes through another season and these guys continue to kneel and they continue to lose ratings, again, this may be the death knell of the NFL. It may be something like baseball, where you said it may take years to come back.
If at all. Did you see, because of the NFL, Jim McMahon from WWF or WWE or whatever it's called now, right? Started. Do you remember the football league?
Yeah, the XFL. The XFL.
It's coming back now. and he's bringing it up on a pro-American platform. He is making it the conservative, the pro-American. He didn't say it's conservative. That was my word. But the pro-American platform. And that's what he's bringing the XFL back as. And I don't know if I think it's going to come back in 2019.
I tell you what.
If I'm not mistaken. I will watch the XFL again.
This timing is everything, as we all know.
Yes.
And if the NFL continues to tank this year, that just might be one of the wisest business decisions that he will ever have made.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
End of statement.
Yeah.
Here's a final statement that I heard from a black sports analyst who said something similar to, here's what the NFL people need to realize, that it's a game, yeah, but moreover, what is it fundamentally? It's a TV show, and you need to treat it like a TV show. And that's why the people that are on the TV show are employees and need to be constricted in a fashion and treated like employees. And I had to agree completely. It's a TV show, and it makes money.
It's entertainment, right?
That's
yeah. It's entertainment. So I do want to go, and this actually kind of segued, and now I have to do my segue all over again, and it's going to be awkward. God damn it!
No, I don't know. I don't think it's all that awkward.
It's awkward. It's very awkward.
Listen, I have complete trust in you and the ability to segue quite perfectly.
This is like you're like the good-looking chick, and I'm like the nervous teenage boy asking you out. Like, it's awkward.
No, you'd have to be the good-looking chick. I'd be the ugly guy.
No, you're the amazingly beautiful gal here.
I hope I didn't blow the microphone out.
No, I don't think so. So I want to talk about this. I wanted to have a discussion. We have 13 minutes left about how close are we to losing the Republic? How close is the Republic to collapse? And here's why I bring this up. I saw a news article and kind of looked at some numbers, and there are for the 2018 election, for really the first time that I know of. Maybe you were around in like the late 1800s when it was maybe a little more prevalent, where
I was making wagon wheels and things like that back then.
Yes.
Listen, I was gainfully employed.
Yes, for sure. But we have people running openly as socialists for judgeships. There's one individual out of Houston who's running for a judgeship, openly socialist. People running for, there's one individual, and I have to refer to the article for his name, who's running for the U.S. House of Representatives, and he is knowingly aligned with the Communist Party.
Perfect. That's just what we need.
If we have these candidates that openly being I would say anti-American. I don't know how you are a Marxist or how you're a socialist or how you are an avowed communist and still be able to support the Constitution. I have no idea how that's able to happen. But the Texas attorney Franklin Bynum is the one who is touted by the Democratic Socialists of America comrades. This is in Texas. Texas.
This is a red. At one time, just ask Dan Butcher. Theoretically, a red state.
Yeah. Well, red may take on a different meaning now, right?
Yeah.
But there's another individual. There are 20 candidates this year in Texas who are affiliated with the Democratic Socialists of America. 20 openly affiliated with Democratic Socialists of America. God. But I want this one guy who's running for a U.S. House seat. His name is Ali Khorasani, Khorasani.
Yeah, a good Irish boy.
Right, Ali Khorasani, and this is his quote. His quote to the Texas Observer, which is a magazine in Texas. So, quote, "As a member of both the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, and the Communist Party of Houston,
better yet,
I am deeply aligned with socialist values and anti-capitalism."
Great. Perfect.
So this brings about a very real discussion, because when I read this article, this was literally my first concern and my fear is, how close are we to collapse, literally,
That's
of
our
our
very
system?
first show. That was our very first show. 2 hours of this article, an in-depth analysis by you and me on this
Yes.
article about Peter Layden, who was saying that California is the model of where the rest of the United States need to go. In other
Yes.
words, what he's saying is, and he didn't specifically mention the Communist Party, for example, or the Socialist Party, but he did say California turning left. California needs to turn further left,
Yes.
harder apart, and
Yes.
and they need to the leftists need to become more insistent and violent. They need to become violent behind
Yes.
that.
Yes, and so this is this is my fear. I mean, I understand you have a few people calling for revolution, blah blah blah. That's throughout history, whatever. But where you have that many openly communist or socialist candidates in Texas, that is scary to me. And my next question is, how is it they can take an oath of office to faithfully support and defend the Constitution of the United States?
Yes. How can? Oh my God, yes. How can they put their hand on a Bible and swear that they're going to support the Constitution,
Yes.
the Bill of Rights, and then the Constitution of, say, the state of Texas or whatever state
No,
they're
these are
being
for
sworn in?
federal offices.
Oh, these are. Oh my God, that's.
Yes.
I thought these were state.
No, the judge was for a local judgeship in Houston, but this other Ali is running for the United States House of Representatives.
Oh, okay. Then excellent question. Will it get pushed to the point where someone in their infinite wisdom decides, okay, you know what, that Bible swearing thing and the oath swearing thing, maybe that's a little dated.
Oh, shit.
And that needs to go away.
That has been tried in California.
Oh, I'm sure it has.
The California legislature tried to push a bill through to do away with the oath of allegiance.
So then the only allegiance that anyone owes anymore is to themselves.
If that.
Well, if people will always be self-supporting. They will always find a
I don't
bias
think they
towards
will.
themselves.
I don't even know if I'll go that far. Look at the homeless population and the problem that we have in this state. They don't even give a shit about themselves. They don't care about anything or have any allegiance to anything because somebody else will take care of them. Somebody else's problem.
You just mentioned that, and we've got another 7 more minutes. You mentioning that made me look at an article that I just saw today. A Rasmussen poll says that 46% of people favor government guaranteed
Yes.
jobs for all. Senator Bernie Sanders is looking ahead to the 2020 presidential election with a proposed federal government program that guarantees all Americans a job with health insurance. Nearly half of all the voters liked the idea.
Yes. How do you do that? How do you make that work?
Holy crap, how do you make that work?
You have to redistribute wealth. That is the only way that works. So if you have a good job in the private sector, you are going to be required to pay more money so that somebody else can get a different job, a new job in the public sector. That's the only way you make that work. Money is finite, right? Money is finite.
Yes.
I mean, well, maybe it's not because you can just digitize it, monetize it, whatever you want to do with the debt, right? But in theory, there is only so much money to go around. Otherwise, money becomes valueless. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what do you?
So-
I'm sorry. I'll let you finish.
So
my apologies.
If there's only so much money to go around, and you want to level the playing field because everybody has to be equal, right? You have to level the playing
Yes.
field. And folks, we had a guarantee equal opportunity, not equal result.
Yep.
This country is about
Outcomes.
equal opportunity.
Yep.
Not equal result. But socialist communists want an equal result. Everybody is on
Yep.
this plane. Well, if there's only so much money and you have some people here and some people here, there's only one way to bring them equal. In order to raise these folks up, you're not going to close the gap and bring everybody up to this level. It's too steep. You have to raise them up and lower these folks down.
That's right.
And it's always easier to, there's always easier to take money away than it is to create wealth and bring people up to that level.
Just remember, the people in Crewe in England can make only so many Rolls Royces per year. Not everyone can have a Rolls Royce.
Yes.
Or a Bentley.
Yes.
Damn capitalism. Damn it.
Yes. Not everybody can have a house that's 5,000 square feet. Not everybody...
Like Al Gore.
Like Al Gore.
Yeah.
Not everybody can have limousines. Not everybody can have a private jet. Not everybody can have a top-end motorcycle. I mean, you just can't. You have to prioritize what you have in life, and you have to work for it. And
I make this reference, and I've made it before, and now seems to be the perfect time to make it again. I'm not going to tell you the gist of the story, but I made reference to it the first year that I was on. As a matter of fact, I think in my first radio show. Read the story by Kurt Vonnegut called Harrison Bergeron, Harrison, Bergeron, Bergeron. I swear one day when I have about 45 minutes or an hour, I'm going to read the entire, it's a short story, and I'm going to read the entire story here. Go look up, folks that happen to be listening or watching live or in chat or in podcast right now. Look up and take your favorite search engine and look up the story behind the story of Harrison Bergeron. I think I may end up reading it sometime, maybe next week. Who knows? But it's on the order of exactly what you're saying.
So here's the big deal for me. And a lot of things kind of coming together in this perfect storm for collapsing our republic, or at least our republic as we know it. We may still be America, but it will not be the same America that we all know.
No.
For some people, that's really exciting. For me, that is very, very scary. And Bernie Sanders saying, oh, everybody's going to have a job. Look, there are only so many things that can go around. We have so much resources meaning money. We have so many jobs. Hopefully we can create more. He wants to create more. How do you pay for that? You take from other people. There's only so much health care. He wants to give health care to everybody. There is only so much health care. There are only so many hospitals. There are only so many doctors.
There are so many nurses and doctors
Correct.
and nurses because of liability, if for no other reason.
Correct.
They're starting to leave.
Yes, they are.
And we're not building as many doctors as we did.
No, we're not. And our population is growing.
And I'm getting old. Look at me.
And look at you. Look fantastic, BZ.
Thank you.
And so once you have only so much care available, if you have universal health care and everybody has the ability to go to the best everything all of the time, what does that mean?
Dr. Emanuel, Rahm Emanuel's brother, who said that, we're going to have to ration health care.
Yes.
And by the way, when they said there wouldn't be death panels, he said, oh, yeah, and we're probably going to have to consider that little niggly thing called a death panel.
Yes, because with only so much care to go around, it's like a mass casualty incident, and you only have so many ambulances, so many EMTs, so many fire trucks on scene, and if your casualties exceed that, you have to triage.
Yep.
And so what does the triage from a government look like, right? It has to be a curve. You have to say, well, if you're at this stage of life, you really have no benefit in terms of paying back into the system for a long time.
You're a taker. You're a parasite
Yes.
now.
And if you are in your prime, 35, 45 years old, you're working, you're paying taxes, you're at your highest earn-coming potential, we'll put money into you.
Sure.
And once you're on the downside, hey, you already passed your usefulness, and now you have to have that in place, right? And if for those of you that say that will never happen because we are far too generous as a society, look at what just fucking happened in England.
Yeah,
the court just ordered
it's okay to kill kids.
The second baby to be pulled off life support against the parents' wishes.
But the thing of that is so incredibly heinous is that remedies existed, but they existed outside of the UK. In other words, parents, the newest parents wanted to go to France because they believed that there was the ability to save their small, less than a year old, I believe, child.
Yes.
And the state, the government of the UK forbade those parents from taking their child out of England to another country to save them. They said they couldn't do it, and the government went to a court to sue, and the court said, yeah, you can limit them. You can make them stay here, and their kid died.
And not only that, but you can pull your kid off child support, off of life support.
Oh, sure, because
the nurses or doctor or somebody came in and said, "Oh, the child will die within hours, not viable." It's been a week and the kid was still alive. I don't know that I haven't checked the status of the story in a couple days, but no, that baby did not die right away, and is suffering because of the decision of the government.
Yeah, beautiful.
So now you have people openly running, like Bernie Sanders, who wants to run on that.
Oh, it can't happen.
And
here.
it would never happen here.
It can't happen.
It would never happen here, right? It would never happen in England either. We're up against a break. When we come back, sir, we're turning it over to BZ, where he's going to discuss some interesting tidbits related to the President of the United States and the Justice Department and on and on. All this and more on the other side of the break. Against tyranny.
It can't happen here.
It will never happen.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
S-H-A-T.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yep. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics,
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. Insidious. You know, we talked about this for, for the last 3 years. And finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, sackheads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This is Sackheads Against Tyranny. I'm Sackheads.
You remember when that was?
BZ.
You remember when that was a new release?
The song?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in my 40s, and I was on stage. I think it was we had a really rockin' band at the time.
Yeah.
We had a good 12-piece orchestra,
Mm-hmm.
man, I had some spats. I had these cool white shoes. I had long tails. It was a great time.
Were you called? Was your band name? Was your band name the Fop Doodles?
No, we were. It was. Do
you know what a Fop Doodle is?
Well, sort of the opposite of a Fop Daddle.
No, Fop Doodle is actually a real word. Did you know that? It sounds made up.
Okay.
It is a real word.
You made it up.
I'll bet you $100 I didn't make it up.
Really? Really? This deserves a close-up, okay? Folks, what is that? There you go. So
Benjamin Franklin, I am not going to gamble on live radio.
You want to bet me?
Gentleman's bet. Gentleman's bet. For $100 off camera.
Okay, well, tell me. Now you got me dying to know, what is a Fop Doodle?
A Fop Doodle is... You want to look it up and see if you can find a match?
Wait a minute.
How many people have looked it up in chat?
No, I have a if I only had a producer. So go ahead and ask your question again. Do you know what a Fop Doodle is? Go and
do you know what a Fop Doodle is?
And do you know what a Fop Doodle is? And he said, "No, I don't know." And so what is it?
Well, I'm going to look up the definition. I'll tell you what it is, but I actually want to give you a source for a definition. But it is a stupid person, a simpleton.
A
Fop Doodle. So let me see if I can actually find when the dictionary when this came out. But it is actually an old time swear word.
So it's like my era, is what you're trying to say.
Yes, that's why I was shocked that you didn't know what it was.
I can't remember everything. I've been around. If you want to find out how old I am, you're really going to have to cut me in half and measure my rings like a redwood.
Here we go. Webster's 1913 dictionary. Fop Doodle, a stupid or insignificant fellow, a fool, a simpleton.
A fool. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'll be Fop Doodle-ish now and then.
Isn't that a great word?
I do. I'm going to have to start inserting that into casual conversations.
You are. And then you can
Did
make...
you see that Fop Doodle over there?
And people will think it is made up, and then you can bet them theoretical money.
Yes. Folks, I can bet you $100 I know what a Fop Doodle is. Bet me. Go ahead. Bet me.
Yeah.
And then you make them get on their cell phones right here, and you make them go, okay, go ahead. Look it up.
Yeah.
See what a fop doodle is.
Yeah, see if I just made this shit up or not.
Yeah, because guess
See
what?
if it's real.
In about a minute from now, I'll be $100 richer, and you'll be $100 poorer.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I got a story for you.
Challenge me.
I got a story for you.
I love your stories.
It's not a great story. It's really not. But it's a little story.
I expect greatness.
It's a little story. So, one of my children was getting a little too big for their britches, and was saying something, and I just completely screwed with their loop in their brain, and I just said, I'm just going to pretend you're not here right now, and my child said, I am here, and you can't make me go anywhere else. And I said, oh, you know better than that. I said, but so I can respond one of two ways, right? I can either grab their little ass by the hair and march their little butts to their room, or I could have a little fun with them.
Okay.
And so I said,
you decided to screw with them,
right? So I decided to screw with them because what else is a good parent going to do?
Of course.
And I said, okay, I will bet you your allowance. But not really. This is theoretical money because I don't bet, nor do I engage in childhood gambling.
Right. No wagering here.
Right. None. No whatsoever. Did not do this. But so for the sake of the story, I said, okay, I will bet you that you're not here right now. And of course, I get the indignant look.
Like, Dad.
Yeah.
Dad.
Nope. I can prove that you are not here right now. And if my logic is invalid, then okay, you can have your way.
Okay.
And so I proceeded to ask a series of questions, which I will proceed to ask of you, BZ, since you believe you are in fact here. Correct?
I am in complete agreement. I am present and accounted for.
Okay, I disagree. So we'll go this, and so I said this. I said, okay, are you in New York?
No.
Are you in Chicago?
No.
Are you in Spain?
No.
If you are not in New York, Chicago, or Spain, then you must be somewhere else, correct?
I am somewhere else.
If you're somewhere else, you can't be here. My logic is infallible. So after I blew the mind of my child and they curled up in a ball.
That deserves another one of these.
Uh-huh. It's almost Twilight Zone-y, almost.
Or maybe one of these.
That one.
Yeah,
okay. that was the one.
That's okay, but you're right. You just proved to your kid and did you, after you did that, did you go something like boom, bang, see, I told you?
Nope, I literally just turned and walked away and left him hanging there.
Good for you. Now that's what a good dad does. That's why you're a good dad.
Yeah. By the way, I just proved to the world that BZ was not here.
Because he's not in New York, Chicago.
Or Spain.
Or Spain.
So he must be somewhere else.
Yep.
And if he's somewhere else, he can't be here.
Nope. And I am not.
Topics.
Okay. Hey, before we go to topics, I have to play this one. There's a guy named Jim Jordan. We're going to get into the deep state.
Is that Michael's brother?
It is. How do you know this stuff? Okay. Anyway, here's Jim Jordan, Representative Jim Jordan in Ohio, and he's talking to, he's talking to Waters of Waters World. And in about 35 seconds, he sums up about all you need to know in terms of the deep state and how we got to where we are right now.
Yeah, there's no better definition of the swamp than this whole deal. So think about it. Rod Rosenstein writes the memo on why Mr. Comey should be fired. Mr. Comey's fired. He leaks the document to the New York Times to create momentum for Bob Mueller to be named the special counsel. Rod Rosenstein names Bob Mueller special counsel and is overseeing that. And guess what? One of the issues they're supposed to be looking at. Was it obstruction of justice in the firing of Comey? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So the American people step back and say, if that's not the swamp, right, this roundabout thing they got going, I do not know what is.
You need a Karl Rove whiteboard.
That's exactly it. That's it in a nutshell. All the craziness and the zaniness that's going on these days, Jordan just essentially summed up in about, like I said, about 35 seconds. Because this just came out. Let's see if I can go to it. Mueller now, Robert Mueller, the special counsel, has now said he's raising the possibility of a presidential subpoena, a subpoena proffered to President Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, and in a meeting with Mueller's team. In a tense meeting in early March with the special counsel, President Trump's lawyers insisted he had no obligation to talk with federal investigators probing Russia's interference in the 2016 presidential campaign. Special counsel Robert Mueller responded that he had another option if Trump declined. He could issue a subpoena for the president to appear before a grand jury, according to 4 people familiar with the encounter. So the card has been thrown down. The gauntlet has been hurled. If you want to talk about the swamp, just like Jordan was talking about with Waters of Waters World, a story just came out that, let's see, this is from the Associated Press. President Donald John Trump said it's disgraceful because now here's what happened. A list of proposed questions from special counsel Robert Mueller was leaked to the news media. So we already know that Robert Mueller wants to subpoena and is considering delivering a subpoena to the President of the United States to come before either a grand jury or himself and certain lawyers and to testify. There were clearly a number of questions that were already crafted for this sit-down when it would eventually occur. If it occurs, no one knows just yet. But this is nothing more than, this is a perjury trap. It's an absolute perjury trap. That's the only point. And
of course it is.
As we've discussed before on this show, and I've discussed, what has occurred so far with the Russian diplomats and the Russians that they were indicted, and Manafort and Flynn, etc., these are nothing more than crimes of process, proving absolutely nothing with regard to President Trump and the election and hacking and Russia. It's gone from Russia to stormy weather, whatever the hell her name is, gone to lying to the FBI, when in fact the FBI agents, in terms of Michael Flynn, said at the conclusion of that particular interview used for those charges that they believed in the veracity of Michael Flynn. And then Mueller decided that he was going to drop an indictment on Flynn. Where's Russia? Where's Trump?
And now he wants to delay sentencing.
Yes, and and now he's, just when he's gone various places and not found what he's looking for, then he opens other doors and no one is saying, well, you really shouldn't, you don't need to go through that door. And no one seems capable of stopping him. Now the point is he's looking for obstruction charges. If he were to sit down, or any of his attorneys were to sit down with Donald John Trump, they would go for, it is clearly a perjury trap. The New York Times.
But all Donald Trump would have to say is, I'd invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
You theoretically could do that, but it's terrible precedent to make a subpoena, and then,
of course it is.
And then the other question is, do you have a right to refuse? I submit that legally, yes, the president reserves a right to refuse.
I believe, so if we ascribe to the fact that no one is above the law, then I would say that maybe the president doesn't have the right to refuse. However, I would certainly sit down and say, I plead the Fifth. Would you, BZ, knowing what you know, if you were completely innocent and a law enforcement officer said, Mr. Z, first of B, I'd like you to come down and answer some questions. Would you like to talk to me freely and voluntarily? Just so you know, you're not under arrest. You're free to leave at any time. Here's the door. Restrooms are down the hall, and give you the whole Beheeler admonishment.
So I was just going to say, you're giving me a Beheeler
right?
admonishment.
And then sits down and says, so, blah, 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 and starts going through things. Would you answer one fucking question? Being completely innocent, would you answer one question? I wouldn't.
It depends on the severity, if you're talking about a traffic ticket or something like that, but if you're talking about something where...
No, I'm talking about a criminal offense.
Where I'm potentially going to be doing time.
Yes.
I'm going to have an attorney with me.
Absolutely.
And this is me, who the theory is that I've not committed this crime.
Correct.
You've laid down that foundation.
Correct.
And even despite that, no, I wouldn't.
Exactly. This is my point. And yet members of the public, folks who have been in law enforcement, they may get it, right? They may know, or you come out and say, hey, listen, I am completely innocent of all charges. However, I don't wish to discuss anything with you outside of the presence of my attorney. And anybody who's worth their salt, who's been in law enforcement, would say, okay, but what does that say to the general public?
Well, if you take the Fifth, for example, the general thought about people taking the Fifth, like Lois Lerner, in an open session, is everybody. The first thing that everybody thinks is guilty.
Absolutely.
You're guilty. There's only one reason you're taking the Fifth, and that's because
you're guilty.
You know information that someone else wants, and you are guilty, therefore you're not going to provide the information. That's
Correct.
the conclusion that I'd wager 90% or more of the people conclude when you talk about the Fifth, taking the Fifth.
And here is I don't want to say the danger of, but here's the one issue with talking in an interrogation standpoint, right? One of my favorite movies of all time, My Cousin Vinny. The sheriff is interrogating one of the kids, and during the course of the interrogation, the sheriff said, so when did you shoot the clerk? And the kid said, I shot the clerk? And the sheriff said, yes, when did you shoot the clerk? And the kid said, I shot the clerk? And the sheriff said, yes, we know that, but when did you shoot the clerk? And the kid said, whoa, wait a second. And then comes back testimony time, and the sheriff is reading the transcript of the interrogation, and the sheriff said, and I asked the subject, when did you shoot the clerk? And the subject said, I shot the clerk.
I shot the clerk.
Right.
Yeah.
He said, I asked him again, and he again said, I shot the clerk. So well, I wouldn't say a effing word.
Here's the point of it, though. The New York Times makes... when I read this...
How did you not laugh at that whole quote? Because that is a fantastic scene, BZ. I'm a little disappointed in you right now. I'm not going to lie.
Did you see that? The sound was off.
That was amazing.
I had to cut the mic because I was so damn loud.
Yes.
When I was laughing. The New York Times report says that the questions, and this is critical, the questions range from Trump's motivations for firing FBI Director James Comey a year ago.
How does that have anything to do with Russia?
So, well, A, nothing, and B, the thing that we just heard from Jim Jordan, essentially this: people, remember the person that wrote the note to President Trump, providing line after line, paragraph after paragraph of the justifications for Trump firing James Comey, is Assistant Attorney General Rod Rosenstein.
Yes.
Following that, it was Rod Rosenstein, after Jeff Sessions, as Attorney General, recused himself from the Russian investigation. It was Rod Rosenstein who then appointed Robert Mueller as counsel to investigate the reason, just stated right here, why Trump fired Comey, when Rosenstein justified it in a memo for purposes of having the president use that.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yes.
Where is any of the sense of that? Rationality, proportion, common sense, logic?
How tainted is this investigation?
All out the door. Okay, so now I have some questions.
Well, hang on. How tainted is this investigation?
We know already.
It's very tainted.
We know
this thing would get thrown out of court so quick.
If you have judges that are doing their jobs, if you have judges that aren't leftist dupes.
Ultimately, it's going to get to the United States Supreme Court. By the way, how surprising of a vote was Gorsuch? Anyways, go ahead.
Well, on that last one, yeah, that was he went way strict constructionist on that thing. I kind of get it. We know that these guys are going to go sideways. Look at what Roberts did with regard to
healthcare,
the ACA.
Yeah.
In any event, here's an article from the Wall Street Journal. Mueller outlined, and I refuse to call him Mueller. It's spelled Mueller. Mueller. Outlined questions, over 40 questions for Trump in the potential interview. This is from the Wall Street Journal. One question asks whether the president ever discussed whether Mr. Sessions would protect him as Attorney General. What does that have to do with Russia? Mr. Trump has repeatedly attacked Mr. Sessions' decision to recuse himself from the investigation. What does that have to do with Russia and the election and hacking? Another question focuses on Mr. Trump's attacks on the special counsel investigation itself. What does that have to do with Russian hacking and President Trump? So now, if a citizen or if a president asks questions or questions the mechanism itself of, say, the DOJ or a special counsel, now that's reason for that particular president or appointed person, elected person, I should say, to come in and answer to a special counsel that has essentially nothing to do with the original creation of the council itself, but everything again to do with what I call process. This is nothing more than a perjury trap. It's Mueller with Democrats followed and surrounded by Democrats, and all of these people hate Trump. Sometimes simple things really are simple. When the Democrats lost and anyone associated with leftists, Democrats, or the American media maggots couldn't transition over to November 9th, all the claws and the knives came out because Donald Trump has turned D.C. upside down. Now, frequently, he's his own worst enemy. He doesn't know when to shut the hell up. That's part of the cult of Trump. It's part of who he is. Of course he's an egomaniac. Of course he's got a terrible hair job. Of course you can't really count on what it is that he says, but you can count on results.
Yes,
and we're going to get to results towards the end of this show. But all of this stuff is about process. The only point of this all is that it's an attempt to get him. So I'm going to get to this. We've got about 3 more minutes. Here's the new sheriff in town, though, that just walks in. There's the new guy, Emmett Flood, who, just as you indicated earlier, was a representative for President Clinton
impeachment
when he was undergoing an impeachment process.
Yep.
And President Donald Trump's legal team became significantly more cohesive today with the addition of Emmett Flood, a veteran white-collar defense attorney. It also became more aggressive, which could prove tricky for special counsel Mueller.
Good.
Mueller, a longtime Washington lawyer who's known Flood for quite some time and who spoke anonymously because of client sensitivities, said there's no chance Flood will let the president sit for an interview with Mueller. Finally, you want to draw a line in the sand? It sounds to me like that guy has decided. All of the other attorneys, Cohen included, everyone said Cohen was a flake. Now it appears to me that they've got somebody who actually has a plan, a man with a plan. Mueller finally has somebody who's his match, that person said. You've got a fair fight now. The person also said White House counsel Don McGahn played a significant role in bringing Flood into the president's legal team, pushing for him to be offered. And I was listening to some leftist crap today, Ty Cobb, the president's attorney, has been planning for quite some time to retire. Now he's going to retire. The leftists took that today and went south and saying Ty Cobb is incompetent and he's been kicked out. He's being run out of D.C. on a rail, and this guy Emmett Flood is a ball buster, but he doesn't know anything about what's going on. You don't let Donald John Trump, he's a bull in a china shop.
A small china shop.
Yeah, a very small china shop. But he is, of course, turning things upside down. But Now you've got somebody in there who's actually saying no to Mueller, or potentially is going to say no to Mueller. Oh, my God, there's so much more to go into, but we're up against a break, so we are going to take a break. We're going to be right back.
We can pick this up and then get into it, because I do want to talk about.
There are some more things to talk about in this. Trump, Mueller, etc. This is the Sackheads Against Tyranny, and you're listening to the SHR Media Network at shrmedia.com. Don't go away.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the unpleasant blind guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
S-H-A-T.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yep. shrmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. Insidious. You know, we talked about this for, for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Sackheads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I like this one too.
It's a good one.
It's a good way to bring us back in. Anyway, you're listening to the Sackheads Against Tyranny show with Sackheads Clint and Sackheads BZ. It is May the 2nd, Wednesday, May the 2nd, year of our Lord 2018. You're watching us live and direct on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com if you want to listen and get into the chat room. Or if you want to watch, you can watch on the SHR Media Facebook page, or you can watch on the SHR Media YouTube channel. Two buttery, delicious ways of watching, one way of listening and getting into the chat room. As I said earlier, when just before we went on the air, the chat room, folks, there is only one chat room, and it is in the shrmedia.com website, and we ask that you only go to the SHR Media website. Please, my son, only do that. Can you make my boy look better? I want you to use all your skills and all your powers to make my boy look presentable. Can you do this to me in the chat room? Well, the answer ought to be yes. Of course you can. That's a Godfather reference.
I got it.
Okay, all right. I just had to be sure.
I got it.
But we were talking about Joseph DeGenova.
Did you bring the cannoli?
Hey, you want a cannoli? Can't take a picture without Michael.
Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Laura Ingraham is kind of a strange cat on Fox. I
like her.
I'm kind of two ways about her. She can get kind of heated about things, but she's got great guests. You know, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. She's got great guests. Well, one night she had a great guest, and this dude I like to listen to. I like to listen to Alan Dershowitz, because he's got a good legal mind. And though he's a leftist and was a member of the ACLU, but he's not anymore because even the ACLU left him behind, a leftist.
Wow.
He still supports free speech, the Second Amendment, the Bill of Rights, and the U.S. Constitution. And, of course, he's excoriated by all the leftists because he does still that. But he's worth listening to. And so is another guy
he's
that
a
used
leftist?
to... Dershowitz?
Yeah.
Oh, Dershowitz is... a very, very lefty guy. He was a big supporter.
But he likes 2A?
But he is a supporter of the founding documents.
Okay.
And particularly free speech. And so when the ACLU and various other leftist groups diverge from the founding documents, he has a pretty serious problem with them. There's another guy who used to be a federal prosecutor, and he was coming in on Laura Ingram's show, and he was weighing in on what it means when these questions come in, and it's in terms of process. Joseph DeGenova is the guy's name, and when he's on, I like to hear what he says, because he's another guy, an attorney, who thinks like an attorney and has a great legal mind. So, okay, Laura, why aren't you playing? Okay, here we go.
For the president, we need to ask, who stands to most to gain? Well, the former assistant...
Okay, the question that she asked that we didn't hear is, who benefits from leaking the questions for Trump?
Bob Mueller blamed President Trump for the leak, but Trump blasted the leak himself in a tweet earlier today. A report in the Washington Post tonight, though, suggests that the leaked list may be a series of questions compiled by Trump attorney Jay Sekulow. It may have actually been a list of questions that the president's legal team believed Trump would be asked.
And that's exactly what happened. These are questions that they were saying, okay, Don, sit down, because we've got a list of questions that we think if you do sit down, here's what he's going to probably ask.
Moot court situation. Let's ask two top legal minds why they think the list was leaked. Former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Joe DeGenova, and former Whitewater Deputy Independent Counsel Saul Weisenberg. Joe, let's start with you. I mean, the intrigue about who leaked what and who has motive. I mean, it's like Columbo here, Joe. But
I actually don't care who leaked it. No. I think what's important is that these are clearly the types of questions that have been discussed between the president's team and Mr. Mueller. And the question is,
Mueller.
What do these questions say?
Mueller.
They say that the investigation is now lurching into territory protected by the constitutional privileges of the President of the United States.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
And that if Mueller, let's assume these questions are accurate, that this is what Mueller wants to ask. If they are, and if he insists on answers and will not accept written answers and demands an interview, which the President rejects, and then Mueller insists on a subpoena, we are headed to a constitutional crisis because the President's not going to answer these questions.
Listen to this. You were talking about it earlier. We were talking about, hey, what happens when everything breaks down? What happens to the rest of the nation? Now we've got somebody here who's an attorney who works in the system, and now he's talking about a potential constitutional crisis.
Under any set of circumstances.
Saul, when I saw tonight this report in the Washington Post about the presidential subpoena, you know, it takes kind of a lot to shock me these days in Washington, but I took a couple of extra breaths there. Your reaction?
I'm not sure. I saw the Post thing. Is there a presidential? Is the subpoena already issued to the president?
No, it's just apparently Mueller raised the possibility with the Trump legal team reportedly.
Well, I think Joe is absolutely right. If President Trump decides not to sit in for an interview and answer these questions, and these are very broad questions that...
By the way, the guy that's talking right now is a guy called Solomon Weisenberg. He's a former deputy independent counsel who was appointed by the federal government for Whitewater. So he's been on the end that Robert Mueller is sitting on right now, which is why what he says is important. And he's saying essentially the same thing that Joseph DeGeneva is. This is a constitutional crisis.
Definitely raise issues of both executive privilege and separation of powers. If he declines to answer and Mueller issues a subpoena, you know, it's not just a question of does Trump invoke the Fifth Amendment or go to the grand jury. He's going to go and litigate this issue. And here's something that is very interesting that I don't believe anybody has talked about. Remember in the Watergate years, you had U.S. versus Nixon, where the Supreme Court rejected President Nixon's blanket claims of executive privilege. But in that decision, they pointed out that Leon Jaworski, the special counsel, had been explicitly granted the power to contest executive privilege. I'm not sure Bob Mueller has the power under his appointment from Rod Rosenstein or under the regulation to go in and even challenge executive privilege. So there's a possible third way for the president to bottle this up in court on the executive privilege issue.
Oh, I love that. Joe, that's fascinating. Any particular questions in this lengthy list?
And that's another excellent point, the separation of power. Where does that come in? These are unprecedented times.
Yes.
Jumped out at you and why?
Yes, the questions putatively posed by Mueller about what were you thinking when you fired Comey? What were you thinking when you fired Flynn? The notion that a special counsel...
Listen to this. This nails it, Clint. This fucking nails it.
Can intrude on the thinking process of a sitting president while he was president, firing a person that you have ultimate authority, unfettered, unreviewable authority to fire under the Constitution, tells me one thing about Mueller. He has gone goofy. The question should not be answered under any set of circumstances, and I tell you something, I would litigate this to a fare thee well. These questions are sophomoric.
Saul, any particular questions that you have?
So when did feelings or emotions become important in a special prosecutor or in a special counsel? Apparently now they're of the critical importance.
Does this surprise you? Does it surprise you? I'm not shocked at all.
I want not to be shocked. I want to think that this is something in a continuing series because we saw this coming.
No, I'm not shocked.
We see it going, but...
Yeah, I'm not shocked because it's this. This is the exact kind of stuff that I expect from the Mueller team. I am not surprised at all. Hey, bring the questions. Hey, did your campaign collude with Russia? Did you have knowledge of Russia interfering with the investigation?
Because it's already been proven that those are too simple. Those are too simple, and apparently, the answers to those questions are too simple as well.
Yeah, but look, Donald Trump's the president of the United States. He can fucking fire somebody in the executive branch. He can fire James Comey.
Wait, it gets better.
It doesn't matter what he's thinking.
There's another issue from another article that you and I are going to be telling everybody about in just a little bit with regard to exactly that. Holy crap. But that's why I like listening to Joe DeGenova. He brings things down to the point where...
we've talked about that before, that exact same point on Sackheads before. When this whole thing was going.
Yeah. What do you have the power to actually do? And what should be the answer, the result to all of these things?
That would be especially problematic for this president to answer. I mean, I wouldn't, as a lawyer, I would not recommend that he do this interview under any circumstances. I didn't think so before, and I certainly don't think so now. Maybe
perjury trap. That's all it is. It's a perjury trap.
Yes.
So to me, to you, to what I consider to be thinking human beings, the reasons for all of this are so abundantly clear, which again goes to the point that you made with regard to, have we gone so far that everyone has lost their damn minds, and is there any reassembling of this country possible when we're talking about this kind of crap?
Written answers, like, maybe a poetry or a haiku I'd send back to Mueller, but at this point I wouldn't be engaging with that group.
Two, I agree with you. I didn't think he should go in before. Two, that, I mean, you could pick any number of them. That two that struck me as particularly outrageous or almost humorous. One, why do you continue to criticize Jim Comey and Andrew McCabe? I mean, give me a break. You need to ask that.
What? That's a fourth grade question. That's a question a fourth grader.
Why are you teasing Susie?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you pulling your pigtails?
Yeah.
Okay, Donald Trump pulls pigtails. So now it's a question of such significance that you're going to try to sink a presidency behind something like that.
Yes.
And another one was, why did you hold, Jeff Sessions, Attorney General Sessions' resignation in abeyance, I think until May 31st, and who did you discuss it with? Again, as Joe points out, this goes into the heart of executive decision-making, but it also shows something else. These questions show a couple of things. The Mueller people are outraged and livid at the president's criticisms of them, and they have...
Thank you. It's getting down to emotions.
It's personal.
It's the emoticons. It's the emojis. It's the emos. All the little goth emos now are in fucking D.C. and they're in power and they're asking questions.
A very dangerously broad view of obstruction of justice.
Joe and Saul, I want to play.
And stop. When you set precedent like this and you begin questioning every decision that a sitting president makes, then what can be questioned here can be questioned there and later in another administration because you've set the precedent.
Yes, you have. But could you imagine if there was an investigation about Obama? It would be racist.
This would never have gotten there. It would have been chopped off at the issue of the melanin count within 5 minutes of raising any questions like this, because it would be all about the melanin count.
Yep,
guaranteed. That it would be all about that.
Anytime anybody criticized that president, it was because of the race.
And of course, some people actually said that's a reason why you couldn't criticize Barack Obama. You couldn't criticize him because any criticism equated to nothing more than blatant racism.
Today, he was at an event and he was reacting to what he had heard and been reported about the Freedom Caucus potentially drawing up articles of impeachment against Rosenstein. This is what he...
Okay, this is a perfect place to stop right now. And we've let's go. I have two more articles, and maybe we can get them in the next 10 minutes before the bottom of the hour break. Here's an article.
There's just one of those topics that we have coming up bottom of the hour that I want to get to, and it's the middle one. Other than that, we can run over, BZ.
Oh, okay. All right. I told you about this. During a break, I told you about this information that I'm going to tell everybody now, and you said, What's the purpose of that? Well, here's an article from The Hill, thehill.com. Mueller requests Flynn's sentencing be delayed for at least 2 more months. The first thing that popped into my brain is this is another naked attempt to not just drain Flynn, but to punish him because they can. Anybody who's dealt with an attorney like myself and tried to defend anybody like myself against a wrong knows that it takes hundreds, thousands of dollars. Flynn has already had to sell and mortgage his home. Now, I'm sure a lot of people on the left are going, oh, great, wonderful thing. Any delay by any attorney or anyone in authority like this costs you money. I perceive this immediately as nothing more than an attempt to, well, we have him. He pled guilty. The FBI thought that he wasn't trying to prevaricate, and yet Mueller decided to indict him and found him guilty.
No, he pled.
And well, yes, and correct. He pled.
I would have taken that to trial. But no, FBI said I didn't. Fuck you.
And I think he probably will end up. First, you have to be convicted like this, and then you have to go to sentencing. So now they're delaying sentencing, and you have to get through with that. Then you can start the appeals process. But so I'm thinking this is a naked attempt to not just you've already crushed this guy pretty much. Now it's just about the utter. You have to crush and destroy this man utterly because you have the power to do it. Special counsel Robert Mueller on Tuesday requested that sentencing for former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn be delayed by at least 2 months. Mueller's team and attorneys for Flynn submitted that Flynn is not ready for sentencing due to the status of the special counsel's investigation, according to a court filing in D.C. court.
So his attorneys agreed?
Mueller's team and attorneys for Flynn submitted that Flynn is not ready for sentencing due to the status of the special counsel investigation.
So attorneys for Flynn agree he's not ready as well.
And I'm not sure that I know what that's about. And a handful of the nearly 50 questions focused on Flynn's firing. That was from the New York Times, said they had attained a list of questions the special counsel planned to ask President Trump. So this kind of dovetails in with that. Now, I'm not going to go to this article. I'm going to go to this one right now. They made reference in that last audio cut to Rosenstein, the assistant attorney general. And I know this is so much like inside baseball, but people, stop. Let me ask you right now. I have a firm belief that all of this is, again, an abject, naked, soft coup on a sitting president. It was a soft coup on a person running for president. It was a soft coup, a continuing soft coup, and a president-elect. And it's a current soft coup against a sitting president right now.
See, I don't think you can have a soft coup or otherwise on anybody until they're actually in office. So I think that there was certainly
the plotting and planning was there,
correct,
in place.
Absolutely.
As the run-up to the presidency, run-up to the election. You remember, of course, when Trump was saying, I'm being wiretapped.
Yes, and he was.
And guess what?
He was.
He just didn't use the right word. He was under surveillance. Nobody goes into a closet anymore with, alligator clips and does that like the crap that I used to do. But it turns out he was right. He was being surveilled.
And people laughed at him.
And
they mocked him.
What a crazy guy. But, it's continuing to be proven. Now we have Rosenstein who's saying, let me just go through the article. This is from Talking Points memo. Rosenstein on impeachment threat. And you're probably saying, impeachment threat? What the hell is that all about? He says the DOJ, because as far as he's concerned, he is the DOJ.
Yes, he
Rod
is.
Rosenstein is the DOJ, and I will not be
How
extorted.
is Jeff Sessions not just all over his ass?
I think Jeff Sessions, and people try to support him. First, before I even say that, what do you Clint, what do you think of Jeff Sessions? What has his performance meant to you?
It's Jack squat. Nothing. He hasn't done anything. You know, I know he was a supporter of Trump during the campaign. He was a very vocal supporter of Trump during the campaign. I don't know what happened to him. I think his job performance has been horrible, with the exception of coming to California and calling California out. That was magnificent. But he's
firm on immigration. We know that he's pretty good on immigration.
Look, Jeff Sessions was a senator. He's buddies with everybody in the swamp. And
he knows them. They all know him.
Absolutely. He's worked with them. He's rubbed elbows with them.
He was one of the few guys that was pro-Trump.
Yeah. I think that I don't think he's running his DOJ. I think
no, he's not. The guy that's running the DOJ? Roddy Baby.
Yes. And I don't know why Sessions has been absent and allowing Rosenstein to just run rampant.
He is acquiescing, in my opinion. He is acquiescing in his power, and if there two, I'm going to tell everybody about the impeachment and why he's talking about impeachment and why he's talking about extortion. But then I want to weigh in with what's an alternative that could be done. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein said that
he gets fired.
Oh, yeah. The Department of Justice is not going to be extorted, and that he has no response to documents that nobody has the courage to put their name on in response to inquiries about the articles of impeachment in the House Freedom Caucus is drafting to possibly bring against him. So, okay, let me see if I can get this particular thing.
Can you imagine the sphincter flex involved on all people if he actually does get impeached?
Sometimes it is. If you find out there's anything incorrect in there, that person is going to face consequences.
This is Rod Rosenstein responding.
Sometimes there are innocent errors, but if not, you can face discipline or potentially even prosecution. And so that's the way we operate. You know, we have people who are accountable. And so I just don't have anything to say about documents like that, that nobody has the courage to put their name on and that they leak in that way. But I can tell you, there have been people who have been making threats privately and publicly against me for quite some time.
Here we go, down to the crux of the biscuit.
And I think they should understand by now the Department of Justice is not going to be extorted. We're going to do what's required by the rule.
Meaning I'm not going to be extorted because as far as I'm concerned, I am the Department of Justice. I am the deep state.
And I am the rule of law.
Yes, it is me. I am king. I am imperial. Who do we know that had another philosophy like that for 8 years?
Law and any kind of threats that anybody makes are not going to affect the way we do our job.
Of course, they're not going to affect the way that they do their job. So the question is, why is Rod Rosenstein acting like this? And why are even people talking about the impeachment of the Assistant Attorney General? It's because for over a year, the House Select Committee for Intelligence has been initially requesting documents from the DOJ and the FBI. Consistently, the DOJ, because it's not Jeff Sessions running this shit anymore. Clearly, it's him, because you don't see Jeff Sessions up here answering.
Yep.
Jeff Sessions is an absentee AG. The guy that's answering is the guy that apparently is the one that's been blocking the documents. So what do you have when you have a Department of Justice that is refusing to provide documents that they have already been subpoenaed for by the House Intelligence Committee, Jim Jordan, Gates et al., Devin Nunes, who said that we're going to have to place contempt charges against these people if they don't produce charges. Well, if the DOJ doesn't produce documents that a fully functioning and they're doing their job, a committee has asked kindly, then demanded, now subpoenaed, and if the DOJ under Rod Rosenstein, because apparently he is the DOJ, if he's not giving over the documents to another political arm, then to whom does the DOJ answer?
They don't, and they haven't.
No one?
They haven't for years.
Then who has the power to demand this stuff? Apparently, Rosenstein thinks no one has the power to question me.
Yes, but look at what happened under the Obama administration and his DOJ. Eric Holder. We find you in contempt. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to prosecute myself for contempt.
Yeah,
I'm declining charges about contempt. What?
The ultimate in leftist, elitist arrogance.
And
this is arrogance heretofore. I've never seen stuff like this.
Well, what
before.
happened to Holder?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing. Oh, he left. I think he left before he got impeached, but he left. And then you had Loretta Lynch, and now you got why is Donald Trump not firing Rosenstein?
Thank you. We got to go to a break, but that is the perfect way to close this segment. Why would you even need to broach the issue of an impeachment when you do, in fact, have one person sitting in the White House with the power, just like James Comey, to say, out with you?
Yep. You are terminated, and Jeff Sessions, unless you want to be terminated, you will ensure that document gets handed over to the House Intelligence Committee.
All to your point, Clint, all to your point, completely to your point. This country is upside down. It's foundering. It's sinking. The ship of state is taking water. Can we get it back? Can we get it back? Folks, hang on. There's a break, and then we will be back.
We will. I don't know about the country.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
S-H-A-T.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The Right Guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for a good for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know, I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, sackheads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back.
I just sent you a text.
Oh, thank you.
Let me know when you get it.
Okay.
I think you'll appreciate it.
It's the final half hour, folks. 2 hours of again, boom, gone by like that. Because it's what we do here at the SHR Media Network. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being in chat. Thanks for listening to us in podcast. We've gone over a whole bunch of stuff tonight, and we're talking about a lot of bad stuff. On the other hand, as Clint pointed out when we first came in here, there's a lot of good stuff that's going on as well. Clint, you pointed out SCOTUS. We've got Neil Gorsuch, and probably sometime this summer, we're going to have a second replacement. And the scuttlebutt is that Kennedy may be retiring. That's a second nomination that Donald John Trump may get.
Oh, I'm sure that'll fly right through.
And the other thing is that he has the opportunity to now make an unprecedented number of nominations to the Ninth Circuit as well.
Yes.
Possibly even changing the complexion in a way of the Ninth Circuit DCA, the most overturned, historically, the most overturned court on the entire planet, probably in the universe, and certainly the people that I communicate on Zephron, they say it's the Ninth overturn is overturned more than any other court on the planet Zephron as well. That's historical. That's they haven't seen it, we haven't seen it, and so there are some good things that are happening here as well. The economy is not in the tank. We're seeing people that are getting more jobs. We're seeing welfare rolls go down. We're seeing immigrants. Well, that's another story for another day. But we're seeing the general number of immigrants go down. Lawful immigration is going down by Donald John Trump. We're seeing industries start to rebuild.
Yes,
we're
we are.
seeing metal and aluminum factories have said, okay, it's time for them to come back as well. We've seen businesses come back into the United States from Mexico and elsewhere. And historically, just like today or yesterday, 16 sitting members of Congress drafted an article indicating that they believe Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, should possibly be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Can you, Clint, can you imagine?
And not just for being the first president with an orange cat on his head.
Oh, that's very true. Can you imagine the leftists' heads that exploded all across the fruited plain when someone made that suggestion? I could hear the heads exploding.
He would never win it because of the Nobel Commission and their makeup. So here's the thing. So you have everybody's focused on, all the media is focused on the Mueller investigation and Russia collusion. Nobody in the left-wing media, in the left-wing media is talking about what is happening in North Korea. And folks, Donald Trump, President Trump, is the reason why this is happening. The North Korea met with South Korea. Kim Jong-un was the first North Korean dictator to step foot across the border into South Korea since the Korean War.
Yes.
Since the 1950s. He's talking openly about stopping his, and granted, there have been talks before from North Korea. I understand this about placating and stopping certain things. I get that. But none of those dictators ever crossed into South Korea to meet face to face and openly discuss this. And he wants a few things. He wants a formal end to the Korean War.
Unprecedented.
That is unprecedented.
Absolutely.
He wants U.S. assurance that they are not going to militarily attack North Korea.
Logical. Sounds logical from their end.
Very, very logical. You were saying that you read somewhere they wanted inspectors, or they were going to open up.
What I was saying is that they were becoming more conciliatory to allowing inspectors to come in to verify their programs, which is something that we didn't get that out of Iran. Oh, wait, that's another plus coming up here as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But back to North Korea, the unification, the inspectors, his willingness,
to
stop his nuclear program.
Yes, and so. Given Donald Trump's policies in the world and on the world stage, Obama's policies, in my opinion, were an abject failure. It weakened the position of the United States. It put us in a position to where North Korea felt they could bow their muscles. Russia thought they could go run ramp shot throughout places in the Middle East and in Europe,
and did.
He apologized for everything we ever did, and so. So Donald Trump's now position, look, Syria dropped chemical weapons twice, and twice Donald Trump went in there and tore shit up.
Yep.
Okay. I think that this prompted North Korea to have an oh shit moment. Actually, to your point from before the show, I think this prompted China to have an oh shit moment.
Yep.
To send the little green train over for the little fat man, drag his ass into China, say, the United States is going to kill you. The United States is going to invade you. The United States is going to bomb your country. You will be defeated. We will not help you.
Hallelujah. Come to Jesus, Kim.
So
come to Jesus.
You better make something happen. Here is your game plan. Or we are going to allow the United States to blow you off the face of the map. I honestly believe that was the crux of the discussion, particularly as I'm seeing this play out. Because now, all of a sudden, little Kim is super happy to go talk to everybody and meet with everybody and give up his nuclear program. And please don't kill me, please don't kill me, please don't kill me.
No more testing, no more nuclear testing, and no more missiles or rockets
fired.
And
a dismantlement of their facility.
It's just absolutely unprecedented. But this is the exact stuff that CNN, now at their lowest in terms of ratings, that they're not talking about. They're still. I switched to CNN today just because I swear to God, Clint, they're still talking about Stormy Daniels. I'm not kidding.
I believe it.
When all of this stuff is going on, Hispanics. Oh, you want to talk identity politics? Let's talk identity politics. Hispanics are more employed at this point under Trump than they have been in decades.
Mm-hmm.
Blacks have a higher employment rate now than they have in decades.
Under President
Diamond
Trump.
and Silk have come to the point where they're saying, this crap the Democrats are trying to pull, all they're trying to do is keep blacks down. Kanye West has said that maybe it's time for a discussion about racial politics in America, and he's shot down. Diamond and Silk have been removed from social media. God, I wish I had the thing to play where, God, who's the guy? Hank Johnson, who said that Guam was going to tip over. is grilling Diamond and Silk, and you're making lots of money from millions of dollars from Facebook. And of course, you know, it's Diamond and Silk. One of them chirps up and says, "We're not making no millions of dollars anymore. Facebook demonetized us." Well, yeah, and they did. Their ability to make money now, it has been diminished markedly. So there are major things going on.
And how is that not discriminatory? How is Facebook shutting down conservative black women and demonetizing them not discriminatory?
Oh, you want to hear the best. This is great in terms of Facebook. You know, I know, you know, Clint, who, don't answer just yet, but I know you know, who California hired to be Xavier Becerra, okay, and defend the state of California. That guy is the same guy that Facebook now hired to make sure that everything in Facebook is even, and he's going to sit on a committee to make sure that there is no discrimination on Facebook. Yeah. Clint, who is that man?
Becerra?
No, Eric Holder.
Oh, I thought you just asked me who Becerra is. Xavier Becerra, the Attorney General.
Xavier Becerra is the Attorney General
Yes.
of the state of California, and yet the state of California,
Okay,
having
this
apparently
is-
no confidence whatsoever
this
in
is-
Xavier Becerra, hired Eric
Yes.
Holder to represent them
Okay, so-
in the suit.
So this is
The
why I
federal
was
suit
confused.
against
You're
them.
telling me that this is why I was confused. You're telling me that Eric Becerra or that Xavier Becerra is the Attorney General who's supposed to defend the Constitution. Who is
I'm sorry,
that man?
you're not in my mind. You're not
No,
getting where
I'm not in your mind. I
going.
wasn't getting where you're going.
all right.
Yes, Eric Holder.
Yeah.
But even
Are you kidding
of
me?
course not. Well, look who
Jesus.
look who the UC Regents hired. We talked about this.
Yeah. Jenny, baby.
Look, okay.
How do you fight this? It goes to what you were talking about at the very beginning of the show. How do we survive this, Clint? How do we do it?
We don't. We form our own country and say fuck it. So here you like my idea is amazing, by the way.
Listen, I'm going to get him on the show by hook or crook. Kurt Schlichter has written two and about to come out with a third novel. And his first novel, kind of clunkily written, but I get his point. In his now soon-to-be trilogy, what he does in his books is California has split away completely from the rest of the United States.
And is the rest of the United States a better place?
And the rest of the United States has gone red with some blue on the northeast, which they can keep all that shit to themselves anyway. But it illustrates what a shit show California is now. Well, California is already going downhill at a remarkable pace.
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, there was a report that came out, and I think I forwarded it to you this week, where it talked about because of the new tax.
Oh, perfect. Yep.
Because of the new tax stuff that came out, that people are leaving the blue states in droves because of the high tax rate.
Yeah.
So now you have California once again losing its tax base. And another thing on California, because I'm going to segue right into it, we only have 12 minutes left, or 11 minutes left, is California has the infamous train to nowhere.
Oh, this is such a great story.
It's a high-speed rail to nowhere. And
I saw it.
Okay, so it's not even fucking high-speed rail because the tracks they're on can't handle high-speed rail. So the train, which is high speed, or supposed to be high speed, or gonna be high speed.
They called it a bullet train.
The bullet train the bullet train is on a squirt gun track, and so it has to slow way down because if it maintains maximum speed, the tracks can't handle it. This project is 7 years behind schedule, and how many billions of dollars over budget?
Oddly enough, I happen to have that figure: $72 billion
with
over.
a B. With a B.
When this was sold to the people of the state of California as having a top budget of $12 million, it's only going to cost $12 million. It's at $72 billion. right now.
Was it 12 million or was it 12 billion?
I'm sorry, if I said
billion.
million, I meant billion. It was budgeted and sold to the people
At
in a
12
proposition as
Capped.
a cap of $12 billion. Well, that
Yes.
doesn't sound like much.
And it was supposed to go. It was supposed to get private investors.
Yeah,
Well, guess
pocket
what?
change.
Nobody is investing in this, and they cut the northern part of the line, so from Sacramento, and they cut the southern part of the line, Los Angeles, and now it goes Fresno to Bakersfield, or supposedly way behind schedule. $72 with a B billion dollars. So the federal government.
Oh, they're not happy.
No, because this
I wonder
is
why.
It's subsidized. Did you get the picture I sent you, by the way?
No, but I'm looking at the article. I'm looking at the article that you sent me.
So now, what the federal government is doing is they are coming to California to investigate, and they're investigating.
This is great.
The budget for the train, and it's the I believe it's the IG, correct?
Yeah. It's the
Inspector General?
It's the DOT, the Department of Transportation, the Federal Department of Transportation,
And their auditor they're auditing,
and their IG's audit.
Yes, and they're auditing why this thing which is the biggest boondoggle in the state of California history is so far behind schedule and so far above budget. And what the interesting thing is, I have not seen a state response to this yet.
How would you respond to this? As in, okay, caught us.
Is the state? Yeah. So now you have the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, who is coming after you for your immigration policies. You have the Federal Department of Transportation coming in saying, you are wasting billions of dollars of taxpayer money, federal taxpayer money, on this bullshit.
Well, they're invested. It's the FRA. Now the IG is coming out with the audit, but it's the FRA, which is the Federal Railway Association. What happened is that they gave California a grant of $3.5 billion. Now, tentatively, that was a quarter of what they said that they would initially need, and the federal government ponied up what it
25%.
What it then considered to be a quarter of the budget necessary to complete this high-speed bullet train project. Now they're coming in and saying, and rightly so, where is our $3.5 billion, and what have you done with it?
Yes.
Perfect.
We created a whole other agency. Wait, what?
Yeah, I went through. I got to tell you this. I think I don't remember. I talked to so many shows right now, but I drove down to Fresno, and there is an elevated section of the high-speed rail just before you get to Fresno off Highway 99.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 1,200 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 25 to 30 feet up in the air, and it goes nowhere. The southern, it ends on the southern tip after 1,000 feet, and it ends on the northern tip after about 1,000 feet. And oh, did I tell you that now I just read an article which indicates the concrete supporting pillars of just that section, they're starting to crack.
Shocking.
If that doesn't portray what's occurring in California these days, I don't know. I don't know. We said, or I said at the beginning of the show, before we actually went on air, I said, may we live in interesting times. And you responded that was a Chinese proverb.
Yeah. Curse.
And yes, and it's sort of a Chinese screw ya.
Yeah.
Well, we are living in interesting times.
We are, and I want to make a correction on the numbers. The bullet train was sold at $33 billion, and it's up to 77.
Oh,
now.
I was off on both figures.
It's 77, so I want to have a correction.
Okay, so only 5 more billion.
Correct.
Over than what I underestimated.
Yes.
Damn me. I need to get my figures right.
Yes, $33 billion. We should have been able to complete it for $33 billion. We were ready to complete it at $12 billion.
Here, Senator Republican Jeff Denham. This is a great quote from the article that you sent me. Since then, the bullet train project was sold to voters in California in 2008 as a $33 billion ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles in 3 hours or less. Doesn't that sound great?
Yes.
Sure, that sounds great. You betcha.
Amazing.
Since then, this is a quote, since then, the project has been scaled back dramatically by lopping off the Sacramento and San Diego segments while ballooning the estimated cost from $77 billion to $98 billion, almost $100 billion. And except for the feds, apparently California is accountable to no one, just like the federal DOJ.
Yes.
To whom does government answer anymore? To your point at the beginning of the show, if the government does not answer and is not answerable to anyone or any series of persons, what do we have?
Here's the problem. The government does not fear the people. The government of the state of California, I would say the government, more the government, the government does not fear the people. They do not fear the prospect of being removed from office. They do not fear the prospect of people getting fed up with their bullshit and revolting, stop paying their taxes or do any of those things. They do not fear the people. They don't care. They don't care.
That's absolutely true. Now I'm going to bring it back down.
And that's called tyranny, by the way.
Oh, it is.
And we are against tyranny. Clearly, it's in the title of our show.
I'm going to bring this back locally to California, but it can apply to any jurisdiction now. And I know we got about another 2 more minutes to go before the end of the show. But this is a great quote. And this is from a San Diego councilman. He says, "This so-called bullet train is a solution in search of a problem that is plagued by billions of dollars in cost overruns and fiscal mismanagement." He said, "This money, bingo, wait, I have it. This money could have been used and invested in our current infrastructure needs, such as water storage,
yes,
flood control,
yes,
highways,
yes,
bridges,
yes."
And I would also add, because California is either in or out of a drought perpetually, desalinization plants all up and down the coast.
Yes.
Potentially $100 billion for nothing that we could use for all of that infrastructure, solve our critical water problems?
Yes.
No interest whatsoever.
Here's why, and here's why the water issue won't gain traction. Because in order to create new reservoirs, desalinization plants, all those things, you have to destroy environment.
Oh, that's so sad. But hey, that's funny.
Look at Lake Pillsbury.
Other states can do it.
In Lake County, Lake Pillsbury, I think it's Lake County up there. Lake Pillsbury, PG&E is talking about letting the dam up there, just let it go. Just let it crumble, let it go, and return back to the way it was in nature.
Oh, I forgot this. This is, you spoke of dams, and we're going to have to leave here in just a little bit, but you are really going to enjoy this. Last year, when during the floods that we have, Lake Oroville couldn't withstand the waters, the pressure of the waters from the Feather River coming to Lake or to Oroville Dam and broke a part of the dam, and it threatened and flooded
the spillgate.
A bulk of the town of Oroville, making homeless refugees of hundreds and hundreds of people in the town of Oroville.
Yes.
Now the state of California has repaired the spillway, only again to discover what, Clint? Oh, that's right. There are cracks in the spillway, and they're going to have to go back and
do it again
and try to repair it again after they already spent millions of your California taxpayer dollars. Millions and millions of dollars spent, pissed away, because there's no accountability for any of these people, for any of this stuff. How do we survive this?
We vote them out of office, but people have to be engaged. And in California, they're not.
No, they're not. All they want is stuff.
Free shit.
For themselves. Give me a wheel of free cheese. Give me my government job.
Give me my dope.
Give me my dope. Yeah, you can walk the hallways in BART and watch all these people shooting up. This state is gone. Here's what this state is. This state is a perfect example, folks, of what not to do in other states. Learn from our lesson.
Please do.
That's it for the show. We'll be back next Wednesday. It was, again, another chat show, wasn't it?
This makes me just want to go to sleep, this type of music.
And that's it. Good night, folks.
Very soothing. Good night.
We'll see you later.